Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming here this afternoon. That brick, that concrete block came right near where I was driving. At first I thought it was one of my ex-girlfriends who was not happy or voted. But what Charlie said was very true. And most of you, I know, and I really want to thank you for being here. I was born in the city of Miami Beach. And back in 1943, when I was born, it's a beautiful area. Nice city with nice people and just wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. There were families there. And I can remember my mother used to take me as a child to watch the ocean. And I love that ocean coming, touching the shore, and watching the power of the Atlantic Ocean every day with my mother, enjoying how beautiful Miami Beach was. At the time, we had wonderful families, predominantly elderly population, predominantly Jewish. Very nice, beautiful city. And as I grew up, at the age of 6, I developed polio. And I got very sick as a child. And I got so sick that a Catholic priest gave me the last rites. I almost died. Polio was a terrible scourge back then. And thank God it's been eradicated. There's no more problem with polio. Grew up, I had a limp, and I went ahead and started training in Fifth Street Gym. Met the likes of Muhammad Ali and Angelo Dundee. When I graduated college, I went to law school. The first job I ever got was in the city of Miami Beach. I was a Miami Beach assistant city attorney. And at that time, we dealt mostly with problems of the elderly, and I used to devote my time going ahead volunteering for the Tenants Association, the Dade County Council of Senior Citizens, and many other organizations. And you got to meet some beautiful elderly people there. And one in particular that I met was a woman by the name of Elsie Cohen. And she walked into my office. I was then at the Tenants Association. And Elsie Cohen was one of those kind of people that you meet in your life that makes you feel good. That very seldom do you have an opportunity to be around. And she was a person that was having a problem with a landlord, and I helped her. And then unfortunately she came back. She was getting evicted. She was being sued. And I got to know Elsie and got to really care for her. Because you see, Elsie Cohen, ladies and gentlemen, was a Holocaust survivor. And I've never known what a Holocaust was. I mean, I heard from my uncles about World War II and the terrible ordeal of Nazism. But this poor little old woman had survived it. She told me how they had fought the remainder of the Jewish people in Poland, gathered in the Warsaw Ghetto, and how they fought the terrors of Nazism, how they stood, women and children, unarmed, defenseless, against the worst of the Gestapo could throw at them. And how she was sentenced to Auschwitz, how she survived, how she always dreamed of coming to Miami Beach. And with a very short time, I got to love that woman. She was like my mother. She was everything that represented good. Well, Elsie Cohen had problems with a landlord. And she was being evicted, and I went to go ahead and to defend her. And I should have won that case. I should have went ahead, because I had the law on my side. I had justice on my side. And I certainly had a defendant that should have won by just the law. But you see, in Miami Beach, you can have law, you can have justice, and you have a beautiful defendant. But back then, I lost the case. And I lost it because of politics. The attorney representing the landlord was a sitting Miami Beach commissioner, a fellow by the name of Joe Malley. One thing led to another, and I began to run against Joe Malley for commissioner, because I wanted to become a commissioner. I wanted to do good. So once I started to run against him, all of a sudden, quietly, I started hearing Daoud. I didn't know what Daoud was. I figured they were talking about somebody else. I was down. But I started hearing Daoud. And then I started doing better. And all of a sudden, I love people, so I love to go out and shake hands and meet people. That's what a politician has to be, is an extreme extrovert, loaded with all these inner fears that you have that people won't like you. And worst thing you do, a politician, is just say, no, I don't like you. Watch how they wilt. You know? I go from 6'4" down to 2 feet 3 inches. I don't like you, and you'd see me like this. So anyway, I started going out. You know, they were calling me Daoud. Then they started getting a little harder. My father was Roman Catholic. They started calling me, he's a Roman Catholic. You know, you don't want to vote for him. That's my ex-wife. I'm not you. I thought it was for me. Oh, it's my psychiatrist? I'll pay the bill tomorrow. I'm sorry. Yeah, the check's in there. Anyway, so, you know, I was going around and they're hitting me. You're a Roman Catholic, you're this, you're that, your father was from Lebanon, and all of a sudden I started to realize, man, politics is dirty in Miami Beach. I always thought I was just a nice guy. You know, I never thought of Christian, Jewish, I never thought of Muslim. I thought we're all human beings. You know, we all walk on the face of the earth and we all pray and hope for the same things for ourselves and our relatives and our loved ones. So it started getting worse. Then my opponent, at the time was Joe Malik, started standing up at debates. He goes, and you won't let me tell you, my opponent is none other, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Give my psychiatrist a round of applause. The check's in the mail. You're laughing, he's only 25 years old. That's how bad my problems are. So, anyway, you know, they're yelling at me, Daoud, Daoud, Daoud. But my opponent stood up and he actually said in the debate, and guess what this Alex Daoud is? And everyone looked, well, what is he? He prays to the Pope. I said, I didn't know I prayed to the Pope. I thought I prayed to God. You know, what was going on? But he said it over and over again. And I waited. And I waited in the community. I waited for someone to come out and say this isn't right. That we don't use religion. That we don't use any sort of ethnic background in Miami Beach or anywhere, because we won't tolerate that. And when it started, it was so exciting. Because I waited for my Catholic priest and he never said anything. It started with a rabbi, courageous rabbi by the name of Rabbi Irving Lehrman. Many of you know him. He stood up at his pulpit, told his congregation, we as Jews should know that religion should never enter into any decision of voting or politics. And then Rabbi Phineas Weberman, another Orthodox rabbi, stood up when my opponent Malik was sitting right in front of him, and he condemned him. Said, shame on you, Commissioner, that you, above all, would bring religion in. And God bless the citizens of Miami Beach. I won that election by 75%. And I went on and won it very strongly. I then started off serving and wanting to do good. We had the massive redevelopment plan, and that went ahead and passed the vote and never went ahead. But crime began to build up. And it happened when Fidel Castro is a very shrewd despot. I'm not supposed to say it, but I'm not politics anymore. This is a bad guy. He opened up his jails and his prisons. He opened up his insane asylums in 1980 and sent all of these refugees with the other good Cubans, many of whom came to our country seeking freedom, seeking justice. And all of a sudden we had a massive crime wave in the city of Miami Beach. A massive crime wave where the elderly, predominantly Jewish women, were being attacked, were being hurt. On the night of September 26th, because of all this, I went to ride with Charlie Serena in his police car. And I can tell you what Charlie said was unbelievable. The first thing that happened was a concrete block fell. Then we chased a stolen car that went ahead, and they were stealing cars right and left off of Miami Beach. It crashed, and the 2 occupants were killed in it, the 2 thieves. Then we went to a place where there were 5 domestic disputes, 3 of them with guns, 1 of them with a machete, and the other one had a baseball bat. This was all going on at night. I felt it was a tale of two cities. One in